Hi, I'm Dr. H.C. Lim. I'm an assistant professor at the biology department. I run the evolutionary genomics lab at ScienceTech campus.
Hi, my name is Dr. Brett Froelich. I'm an assistant professor of microbiology in the biology department at George Mason University.
Hi, my name is David Luther. I'm an assistant professor in the biology department at George Mason University. I've been here about 10 years, and I chose to study biology and go into the field of academics with biology because I was curious about nature, especially ecology, and why animals look and behave the way that they do, as well as being able to contribute to part of the solutions to help species from going extinct.
I teach biostatistics at the graduate and undergraduate level. I also teach bioinformatics, landscape genetics, and population genetics. Population genetics is one of the core classes for the biocomplexity PhD program.
I teach animal behavior, community ecology, animal communication, ornithology, and for years I taught introductory biology as well, and I may do so again.
Well, I teach microbiology, or as the full name is, the biology of microorganisms. I also teach a class called Water and Disease, where we look at the variety of microbes that are found in water, whether it be fresh water or salt water, and how they have an effect on human diseases, and how we can remediate them, prevent them, detect them, and understand. I also perform research on bacteria in the genus Vibrio. That's the same genus that causes cholera. While I don't study cholera, a diarrheal disease, because it's not commonly found in the United States, I do study two other organisms, Vibrio vulnificus and Vibrio parahemolyticus. These cause nasty wound infections and sometimes blood poisoning from performing activities in the water or eating contaminated shellfish. I look at the organisms, how they interact with each other, if they are injecting each other with toxins as they fight for space on surfaces or inside other organisms, and how the results of those fights can ultimately affect human health.
My PhD degree is in evolution biology. I did a master's studying the impact of urbanization on birds. I also did two postdocs, one at the University of Illinois and one at the Smithsonian. I studied pollinator diseases as well as avian genomics.
To get to this area and this field, I got a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of Oregon. Then I took some time away from academics and I was an ecotourism guide in the Amazon for a while, which allowed me to explore and become even more curious about nature and why things are the way they are. After that, I interned with a well-known researcher in the California Academy of Sciences studying bird song and behavior, and then worked as a conservationist for a little while at the Nature Conservancy and a resource conservation district before getting my PhD at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill in the field of ecology.
Well, I did some undergraduate research in a lab that studied Vibrio, and ultimately when I went on to get my PhD, I did laboratory rotations. That is to say, we had to find a researcher that did a completely different field and study that. I ended up studying with an oyster biologist and learned all about oyster anatomy and how to grow them and collect them, harvest them, dissect them, things like that. When I came back to return to my studies, I combined the knowledge I gained of the oyster biology with the Vibrio biology, considering that Vibrio are concentrated by oysters. Oysters filter feed from the environment, and when they do, they can take these bacteria in the water and make them 100 times concentrated in their flesh. Of course, this also gives me the opportunity to do some field work out on the coast and out at the beach. So that's not so bad either. So that's kind of how I ended up in that line of research. So I wasn't always going to be a biologist. When I first went to college, I was studying computer science, and I was a computer scientist for a year and a half. Turns out I didn't really enjoy being stuck in a windowless room all day writing code, and I really had a good time in my biology classes. So I decided to explore biology a little more and found that I was not only enjoying it, but I was good at it, and I decided to go down that path. I ultimately decided to be a scientist. I had taken 2 classes. I took microbiology and I took ecology. And both of those were fascinating. And I decided to pick one of them, and I wasn't sure which. I ultimately chose microbiology, and then, as luck would have it, I went into a field where I actually got to do both, microbial ecology. So I got to do both the outdoor things and the cool microbial work.
If I could do something differently, I would probably try to get a minor in data science or have a separate degree in data science.
If I had to do it all over again, I think I'd do more or less the same stuff. The main thing that I would do differently, though, is I would have paid a little more attention as an undergrad in terms of the opportunities that were around me and how they could help me in my future career path. That's the main change I would make. Other than that, it's been pretty darn good all the way through. I've been very lucky.
So in general, my college and undergraduate and graduate years were the best times of my life. I would encourage incoming students to embrace your friends and peers and the diversity of thinking and experiences they bring to your life. I would also say do not focus on cramming information, but use your time wisely to organize all the information you're getting and weave them into knowledge. Thirdly, I would suggest maybe to not seek knowledge just to get a good job, but also seek knowledge to create a good society.
The major advice I'd give to any incoming or current students is be curious, follow your passion, and be persistent, as well as your own advocate as you go forward to chart a path for yourself. And if at all possible, let the inner nerd shine and embrace what you're studying and be the best at it that you can possibly be so that you can make a 20, 40, 50-year career out of it and enjoy it.
I absolutely have advice for current biology majors, or any student really, and that is update your CV, your curriculum vitae. While you may not think that you're doing anything important now, you absolutely are. Anytime anybody gives you money for anything, whether that is a prize you win for a poster contest, or somebody pays you a little bit of money for working in their lab, or somebody gives you money for tutoring, write that down, and write it down the moment it happens, because when you go to look for jobs or apply to graduate school, and it's years down the line, you're going to forget it. Anytime you win any award, anytime you make the dean's list, any of those things, write them down. I cannot tell you how much you will have accomplished that you will have forgotten you did. So much happens during the time that you're in the university that when it comes time for you to sit down and write your CV, you're not going to remember all of that, right? So the moment they happen, write them down and have a list. And that way you can show your body of work. Even though you think all I did was go to school, you've done so much more. And take this with you, not just at the beginning of your career, but through your entire career. Never forget to write these things down, and it will help you codify all your accomplishments in one area and allow you to show others what you've been up to.
The 3 possible careers would be being a science educator, someone who works at a nonprofit and works with farmers in the US and other countries to develop farming practices that are more sustainable for the earth, and finally, someone who manages captive populations of endangered species.
In terms of careers that you can have with the biology degree, there are many. Some of the obvious ones, at least to me, are you could be a wildlife or conservation biologist. You could go into medical, dental, or any health services field. You could go into ecotourism, and you could be a teacher or environmental educationist as well. Those are the main ones. And I hope to see you around campus. Welcome to Mason.